Well, welcome to the world of biblical storytelling. I'm delighted to be able to be with you in this pioneering venture of collaboration and cooperation between the network and the communities of the gospel in the Philippines. And what I want to do in this short intro to this first presentation to provide an overall framework for this exploration of biblical storytelling as a central means for the communication of the gospel in contemporary culture and in the culture of the church, now in the context of the culture of the Philippines. The basic idea of biblical storytelling has emerged from the study of the Gospels in their original historical context, and from the study of the history of communications culture, and the development of the Bible in the various cultures and emerging communication cultures of the past. So, what has become clear from the study of the original character of the Bible is that it was a series of stories, songs, prophecies that were composed by both original authors, composers, and then were transmitted and passed on with the assumption that anybody who would read the documents that they produced would reproduce the sounds. That is, the Bible was originally sound, told to audiences. It was not a text read by readers. That was a later development. And so part of what we are doing in the exploration of biblical storytelling is rediscovering the original character of the Bible as sound, as stories that were told. Now, this is reflected in some of the primary traditions of the Bible. One of those is the Shema. It's one of the oldest traditions in the Bible. It reflects the culture of the 15th to the 11th, 10th century BC, a culture that was overwhelmingly an oral culture. And so the basic confession that is central to this part of Deuteronomy is the Shema. It was something that was to be recited every day as the primary prayer of the people of Israel. So the basic commandment that was built into this ancient tradition was remember the story, recite it, write it on your heart, and tell it to your children. These words, then, these stories were passed on by being told by parents, by storytellers, by the primary leaders of the community, to the children, but also to the whole of the community. It was what constituted the community's social memory, its basic understandings and experience, so that whenever there were problems that arose, they could remember these basic stories as a primary source of reference, of staying centered in relation to God and their experience as a community. So my recommendation that grows out of this is that as we are doing these workshops, that you can be thinking about the connections between what you are doing as you learn the stories and the experience of the community of Israel now for more than 3,000 years, in which these particular stories, the sounds of these stories have been passed on, remembered, interpreted in new contexts as the community has lived through a whole, gosh, just think of all the things that the community has been through in these more than 3 millennia of experience. It's in that context that we now begin this process in the Institute of rediscovering and reappropriating this ancient tradition that is at the very core, the spring of our religion and of our experience of God.